Well, the next one I wanted to talk about was the coronavirus COVID-19 project, and that's Renee's here about that. And I've checked, Jack, husband and I, Fred Fox and I have had multiple conference calls. This is the Collins house back here behind us. What we can and what we can't do with it, because it was paid through the COVID grant, we can't have a permanent like off-site office or anything. We can't use it for that. We can use it for a community center. We can use it for weddings and family reunions. One of the things I asked him, which we've talked several times on, which he thought was a great idea, was to be able to use it for the library. We could get the library out of this small area because they're only here 2 days a week. It wouldn't be considered an off-site office of anything, but it might be something that we could use it to make it worthwhile. We're going to have the Rogers Square renovated. Of course, we have the town hall, have the Possum Palace. My concern has been the whole time is that we're going to renovate that. It's $1,384,090. Of course, that's going to go on our insurance, our liability insurance. There's going to be electricity over there, which we'll have to absorb anyway. But I thought it would be a great project for the library, and I've had several discussions with Renee, and I wanted her to talk to the council about it. Maybe move the library over there for their 2-day-a-week thing, which would allow the quilters possibly to move back there, use for storage or something like that at the town hall. And so she and I had a conversation at the legislative thing, and I think she went and spoke to Mr. Massey, and I wanted her to just to kind of update y'all.
Or maybe we could build it into a quilting place.
Is the doctor's clinic, health department clinic, is that an out?
Yes, we can't have that.
We can't have it.
Can't have anything that collects money or charges for anything. It can't, she said, they told me it can't be any kind of off-site office, anything. Now, COVID, the health department can come in here and say, on Monday of next week, we're going to give shots. Show up there if you want shots, you can do that. But we can't have it for a regular health department office to be there on a regular basis. A doctor's office coming there, they said absolutely not, because we're collecting money. They will be collecting money.
What do you mean by an off-site office? Can you define that one?
In other words, he said if the tax collector decided, I want to have an office in the middle of the county and I want to come down here and I want to open up every day and I want to assign staff there, can't do that.
So any city-owned building couldn't be occupied by like the clinic or a doctor?
Well, just for this one over here now, we're just talking about the Collins house because it was COVID money.
Oh, I see.
And it was originally, when we wrote the grant, it was to provide COVID shots. They're free for the public. It wasn't to rent it out. I did ask Fred about renting it. He said minimal charge. You could rent it for a family reunion. You know, the $50 we charge, not a problem, but it can't be somewhere somebody comes every single day and stays there on regular office hours.
I'd like to hear Ms. Rountree speak, then I have more questions I want to ask her.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, before we get too much far into that, we of course are doing an expansion at the Chipley Library. And one of the things that we are doing for our grant, which falls under HUD, is we are doing a CENST, which is category exempt, not subject to 58.5. Which is where you fill out some paperwork, and that allows you to do certain things within your grant process while environmental review is happening. What it does allow you to do is environmental and other studies, information and financial services, administrative and management activities. So we're doing that because just like I'm essentially, even though I built like 3 months of contingency in there, I'm technically 2 months behind. Florida Commerce is moving glacially slow, and Mr. Sims is right. It's just they have too much work and not enough people to get it all done. But that might be something that you might be interested in looking into. So, I mean, and you could talk to whoever is doing your grant and then about that, and to see whether or not what you have would qualify for that. Okay. So that's just one of those things that we're kind of doing. Lynn has spoken to me a couple of times, and actually, since I am in the middle of a big expansion project, I was very hesitant when she talked to me about it. I'm not looking to there's only one of me. I can't clone myself. And the library is pretty doggone busy most of the time. But we don't charge, and that is, we are one of the few community services that does not really, there's not really a cost associated. You are technically, when you use the library, you've already paid the cost through sales tax and ad valorem tax that has gone into county revenues. I love the idea of it. It doesn't have to be large. It doesn't have to be fancy. If you will handle building and grant administration and all of that stuff or whatever, I'll be happy to serve as a consultant to ensure that we do kind of the important things, like sight lines, so that we can always see little kids when they're in the building. But you know, we know that there is tremendous growth that is coming from the south of the county, coming from Bay County and from Walton County. And you know, it would be foolish for us not to be prepared. I'm well aware that you are a town that is not necessarily going to be able to staff that kind of community service. You just, your revenue is just not there, and I understand that. It's the same reason why, and for many years, even though the city of Vernon owned the building, the library building in their town, simply, and we just had an interlocal library agreement with them to operate our library services. We technically, in Chipley, that is the case. The city of Chipley, we have an interlocal library agreement with them. They technically own that building. We are in an agreement where we're paying off a USDA rural development community facilities loan. And so one day that building will actually be owned by the county. But right now, they also know that they can't run city library services. Certain things are just done better at a county level and then through partnerships to make things happen. So if we are a service that could be beneficial to you, we would be interested in doing it. If you have any questions for me about how it would work or what you would want to do or suggestions, it's up to you.
And the conversation started when we started meeting with the engineer. He's like, well, what do you want to do with it? How we design it is going to be based on what do you want to do with it. And I'm like, well, I'm not real sure what we want to do with it. We got the grant money and COVID shots kind of dwindled down. And so we have the money, we have the building. But I was telling Renee, I said I wanted the council to be thinking up front, because when we build it, I want us to build it useful. I don't want us just to build it and then can't do anything with it. So, you know, to be thinking up front or whatever. And because we are limited on what we're going to be able to do with it. We can let it sit over there and just rent it out for showers and birthday parties.
Are we going to keep the house, or are we going to tear it
No,
down?
it's going to have to be demolished. The foundation is cracking and could not pass the inspection. So they have told us we have to, and the septic tank has fallen in altogether. It's open out there. But basically, it's going to have to be new septic, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a brand new building. But I want the council to think up front what we want to do with it, so that we don't build it and then we can't do anything with it. I don't know how big of a building it's going to be. I'm asking. It's going to depend on construction cost, and he'll get all that figured out when we figure out what we want. And so the calls I've been on, we've been talking about discussing what we can and can't do with it. Everything I brought up, no. When I brought up the library, they were like, well, yeah, you could do that with it, because they're here 2 days a week. And
And that could change. I mean, we're here 2 days a week, but that's just because obviously COVID has changed our structure, but also too, you know, it is a very small space. So, you know, there's that situation. And then, you know, there are different technologies advancing every day. So I mean, obviously we don't have an Amazon locker anywhere close around here. But there are locations where, you know, somebody goes into a foyer, and it's very similar to accessing like your P.O. box. You can access your P.O. box anytime as long as you have your key. And there's technology now where you can come in and scan your library card, a door pops open on a set of lockers, and you pick up your whole book, and maybe the library isn't even open to the public at the time, but you're picking up at your convenience. So there's all kinds of options with that. So that's something to think about. Also, you know, if it is something that you're interested in doing, you know, one of the things that we've always asked the city of Chipley and city of Vernon to do is to offset our costs by paying the water bill, but we would be more than happy to pay electric for if we were in that building. I mean, that would not be a considerable hit to our budget to handle something like that. So, and of course, our internet costs are already subsidized through the federal E-rate program because we are a library.
So possibly by next month, the council needs to decide what we want to do with the building so that the engineer and the grant administrator can start working on see what direction we're going to go.
Mr. Parks, any questions for Ms. Ransom? Mr. Parks?
I do have a clarifying question, and it may be directed to you, may be directed to the clerk, and that is if they end up being here more than 2 days a week, does the constraint change? Does the definition change? Isn't that just like any other government office? I just want to make sure we don't get down the road and get ourselves into.
I don't know. I can ask the grant administrator about that.
Let's clarify that.
Yeah.
I would think that there would not be a restriction on open hours that you're providing service because it's a free community service.
Yeah.
Based on what I know from grants, I don't anticipate that would be an issue. And since the county would bear the cost because we would be essentially in your building but providing library services, there would not be the cost other than if you elected to pay for water for us, then like more flushing of the toilet, so to speak. Which is something to think about. But hey, if you're building a new building, you can do things to mitigate that with low flow toilets. There's all kinds of stuff. So like, yeah.
Yeah, as a follow-up, since this is on the discussion agenda, I would also want to make sure that we look at, you know, that increase in cost, right? We're talking about insurance, we're talking about, I mean, I'm going to shock everybody, but, you know, is this $2 million building 1.3? Is it something we need? I'm just trying to be honest.
Right.
And look to the future and not strap us in the future to something that's really nice to have. But as a council, I believe it's something we should consider when we look at this. Thank you.
I would also bring up this point as well. As obviously, you know, we insure the contents of our buildings, all of our collection, of course, because books add up really fast. So we have very expensive insurance, which was very great when we had Hurricane Sally. But if there was to be a point in time where it became not affordable, we could always relook at, because in order for this to happen, there's going to have to be an interlocal agreement. There's just no way around it because it's county and city together doing something. At one point, so what happened with Vernon was eventually they came to the point where maintaining the building was just not realistic for them anymore. And at that point, the county offered to take it from the city so that we can maintain it. And then we assumed ownership of it and we have been maintaining the building. So, and then at that point, insurance costs would not be a concern for you. You would still have library services, but the burden would be paid for by the county. I mean, that's obviously not the ideal situation because I would think that you would want to continue to own your piece of property, especially considering it is 77 frontage. But that is also a possibility if something dire were to happen, but knock on wood on that, we don't want anything like that to happen.
Ms. Feinberg?
I don't have anything.
If we spend any money from this grant,
The engineer is already doing some preliminary work. The town hasn't spent any, but there will be some attached to the grant. I did ask the question, if we decided we don't want to do anything with it, can we stop the grant? They highly recommended we not give money back that had been awarded, but we can do that. The engineer would be paid for his services. I think Fred Fox has done a little bit of work, not much. They would be paid for their services and the rest would go back. So I did ask that question.
Do you have any other questions for me?
yes.
Okay.
I think Mr. Phillips had a very valid point, and we know what our insurance did last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm persuaded to believe it won't be any less in the coming year. When you said we got to tear the building down, my interest in the building went from 60 to 0 quickly. When I asked DOT about that, I talked to the council about doing something historical and preserving the building itself. Do something with it, but keep the building. It's tied to the community. A couple on this council have some very emotional ties, could have, and certainly the rest of us knows the history of it. So if we want to tear that down and just build a new building, do we need a new building? Now, I am a fan and supporter of the library. I got my first library card when Ms. Molly Shoemaker used to drive the
Okay.
bookmobile,
That's right.
and still got my library card. I'm a supporter of that, but how much can we support it? Can we, and Mr. Carter, if you even know, chime in please, could we transfer our grant to Washington County? Transfer the facilities to Washington County? And still have a library in Wausau? I don't think the people in Wausau might care who owns the building as long as we have the service. And I like the idea of this being cleared out back here. That's our first fire department right behind it, over there. Where the library is now was our first fire department. But is that something that we can do?
I can check, I don't know.
I think those two questions specifically,
Sir?
those two questions specifically about transferring,
Yes, sir.
transfer the property that's within the city to the county,
Yes, sir.
and then transfer the grant
Yes.
associated with it to the county.
Yes, sir.
I think yes on the first one and no on the second one.
Oh,
Yeah.
So no on the grant?
yes, sir, but and my thought behind that is, this is, as Mr. Wausau used to say, this is my opinion, this is one opinion. You know, we got these, what was that, FERDAP grants, recreation grants. But we have on the edge of town, and we do ball fields, and we had never played a game out there like this, you know. We got light bills, we got vandalism, we got liability, we got all that stuff like that. And, you know, somebody come in here and say, let's get a grant, and it was sort of, we just called the grants there, not necessarily mean we need it. And again, I had a great interest in this being historical and having, the health department send a dentist down here once a month, or shots once a month, school shots, sports shots, whatever needed. There's no charges to lots of those things, that the health department provides, and that was my interest. Now, I'm not saying let's chunk it tonight, but we're pretty soon going to do something on account of the grant, so.
And also, that septic tank and stuff is gonna have to be something done with it. It's open, it's falling in, and the house is dangerous.
You know, we could probably get the county to haul us a couple of loads of dirt in there for that septic tank. Probably could, but,
It didn't have to be decided tonight,
Yeah.
but by next month, according to the last conference call, is on we need to decide, so we can get on it.
I hate not using the grant that we have. Grants really not free money, we just pay for them all along.
But that wouldn't stop us from being able to get a grant in the future, would it?
I don't think it would, which was part of my concern about us always running behind. I got to feel like that if I get my grants and I get my work turned out, I'm gonna be in a better position to ask for another one. I don't know if that's right. According to Mr. Sims, that may not have any bearing at all on the way grants work, but I would think that we want to have a reputation of getting it done.
Can I also just say something about this too? Because the library, we had applied for a grant for the 19-20 fiscal year, and then COVID hit, and it was federal dollars that were being administered through the state library, and even though, I mean, it was March when we were beginning to implement the grant and of 2020, and they're like, listen, and I'm like, listen, hey, COVID has just hit. Like, there's no way that you're going to have to not award this grant. And basically, the state was like, listen, you don't understand what we would have to do in order to return it, because it was a federal dollar that was just coming through the state. And so, and that, because of that situation, we revamped that grant completely from what it was originally in order, and then it got approved at the state level and the federal level, just so that we did not have to go to the trouble of trying to return that money that was specifically designated for, yeah, it was kind of, just a warning, it was kind of a nightmare. I'm just gonna be honest. Yeah.
What, does anyone want to say anything? Okay. What else can the county or the library system do for us? I'm thinking if we kept the money and built the building, and you're going to staff it, and so on, if we could get the county to pay the insurance and
Yeah, we can talk about splitting the cost of something. We could talk about, all kinds of things. I'm open to
we
it.
provide the building and you provide the insurance and the electrical service. Philip could still mow the yard, that's maybe something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like,
We become partners. What's killing us is what's killing everybody.
Oh yeah, is insurance. Oh yeah. The liability insurance alone, yeah. And then my contents insurance, yeah, can be very pricey too.
Is Amy ready for that conversation, council?
I think I was married in every conversation, I just,
Trying to digest it.
Handle that with an interlocal agreement.
Sir,
We could handle that with an interlocal agreement.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
Sky's the limit.
yeah,
We own, county operates.
basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's worked for 2 other municipalities, and even though we don't have one on the books, I think there's always been kind of a unspoken interlocal agreement with us providing services here at this location even.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Madam Clerk, what about Rogers Square? Why don't we build this out here for that community center? Can we do something else with Rogers Square besides make it a community center and a playground?
They could, there was an agreement when that land was donated, that had to stay for them every year.
Forget the question. Well, yeah, forget the question. That's a good place, that's a good location. I think we get it for folks to use. I do like the idea of finding the quarters. I know you and Shirley are for the club, and I do like the idea of you having a permanent place. If the city's going to provide that, it needs to be a place where they don't have to break it down and set it up and some things like that, either in here or one corner of
If it was at the
one-
library, we'd still have to do it at the library, wouldn't
Well, if they move
we?
the
Or would we
library.
design it to have us a quote?
I'm talking about letting them move in there where the library's at now.
That wouldn't be big enough.
Yeah, it's pretty big in there.
you have to sit against the wall.
You would be amazed at how big it is, but it's full of books.
Yeah.
Take everything out.
So it seems very tiny because it's full of stuff. There's like 6,000 books in that room. Yeah, I know, right? Doesn't seem possible.
I'm gonna hear what Judy's saying. Can we design a corner of a new building for the quilters? They're gonna charge
It was us
that
to
thing.
design it.
They know,
They can come hang out with us. We'd love it.
yeah, happy house together. And then what we can use this for is all of our historical records is outside and humidity and all the things like that. We can put it in here and, public records. If we ever had a public records request, our staff has to go outside and dig through and things like that. That would be an ideal place to have some storage and things like that. Okay, for the record, I'm not for giving the grant back tonight, but I am in favor of us trying to find an equitable use for it, where we don't take on a larger debt. I know that everybody thinks that the good times are here again after Monday, until that dollar starts coming in our checking account. I'm not gonna believe that it's quite all here again. Anybody have a question for Ms. Ramsey? Did we answer any of your questions to us, or? we just-
Listen, I'm willing to partner however you want to, if you will handle the grant administration and all of that part. Like, because I just can't take it on, not with listen, the Florida Commerce stuff, yeah, it's intense. I'm just gonna be honest.
We're about to do something. We're about to do something.
We're good on it.
We're good on it.
Yeah, it's through, well, till 12/30/2025. But again, we didn't get the paperwork. We've just gotten the paperwork on it. We've just signed the agreement. I'm sure that would be an extension.
How does the council feel about asking Ms. Roundtree to go back and have a conversation with Mr. Massey about an interlocal agreement based on the things we discussed,
Yeah.
insurance and utilities in particular?
I don't see where that would be a problem. I think
Our building, we could
I would-
furnish the water, could we not? So
I would really need to know like square footage though, because one of the first things that we would be calling our insurance agent and telling me, hey, what's going to be the cost to add insurance for this square footage of a building? And then that's going to have to work into the county library budget. So I need to know my costs as well. But I mean,
Would want a building with a footprint about the size of the one that's sitting there, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I don't know, and I think one of the things that she mentioned was that the architect, the engineer, they're gonna have to give us what they think they can build in square footage, right? So we're kind of
Right.
in a quandary. What I would ask you is that what would you foresee as you go back and have this conversation, what would be a minimum footprint you would like to see?
I would think that based on what you have financially, I would think that you would be 3,000 or less. There's just no way. The construction costs right now, they're ranging from like $450 to like $660 per commercial square foot. I mean, it's really, yeah. Like, I mean, $4 million for Chipley is not even near what I need because of inflation. So,
So
yeah.
that's my point, right? So like,
You won't get a big fancy library, but you know what? You'll get something that will serve the community the way it needs to. And I can make you a promise that I don't plan on going anywhere. So you're going to get great library services.
but we'd still love to have you come back after you talk to him.
Yeah, no, of course I.
We can
No, yeah.
reasonably
I'm not
ensure.
gonna just randomly say yes. You're right. No, we'll definitely talk to Mr. Massey
So
and
what I'm
probably the
asking for
board of county
clarification
commissioners.
on is that, yes, we feel like we could insure 3,000 feet. We feel like we could insure 2,500 square feet. That kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Just a general, because we won't know anything.
No, of course not.
But we could get from you what you think you could bear, then we'll know what we can offer.
Yeah.
And then we can come together with you.
Can you come back, or can you
Yeah, of
come back
course.
and bring Mr. Massey with you, whatever we need to do to move?
Whatever
things?
we need to do.
If you can come back with information, that's fine.
Yeah, I can ensure that what I'll do is I'll talk to him and then I'll talk to HR about insurance costs and so that we reach out to our insurer and see what it's going to be. And then also just kind of, I will have an opportunity to talk to the Board of County Commissioners. They'll have a workshop before then. There's even an opportunity, I mean, because their normal meeting is today, but theirs is, of course, morning, yours is an evening. So depending on if I can get the board action to move forward with negotiating what we would need to do, then that would be convenient. But we'll see what we can do. I mean, I generally I'm not going to come before my board without an option if I don't think I can pull it off. I'm eminently practical. I just have to be.
And I'll try to get with the engineer to see if I can get him to narrow down.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be really elaborate. It really doesn't.
Who is our engineer for this? Is this?
Jack Husband from Bluntstown. I think it's Bluntstown, Bristol.
We want. Yeah, I remember. Thank you for coming.
You're very welcome.
Ms.
Yeah.
Roundtree.
Thank you.
Wow.
No one has signed up on the, to speak to us, so moving right along. Well, let's say we still have an agenda on this person. I'm sorry. Mr. Owen, please come. And if you feel more comfortable sitting, if it's all right with the council, you can pull a chair up here. You're okay?
I'm fine.
If we keep you there till you get tired, then you can sit down.
Okay.
The reason, I think, and council can chime in at any time, and Mr. Phillips, if we discuss things that you're not current with, please stop us, but the rest of us will have looked at things and discuss it. We ask you to come because it seems that there's still is confusion or lack of response or I don't even know if we can identify between the council itself and the fire department. And when you were here the last time, we asked you for help in some of those areas, and this is the next time we've seen you. No reports, apparently no changes, and over the holidays, had an approach from numbers of people about what's going on with our fire department. Everything from services to attitudes. And we just want to talk to you about that tonight, see what your plan is and where you're going with that. Has everybody read the ordinance that establishes the fire department, and we know what it says, all of that, okay? And in that, in the course of trying to reach that, I've asked Mr. Carter some questions, and we want to ask him to answer those tonight, so everybody hears the answers to those questions. And then if you have responses or rebuttals to anything that we ask you, we would like for you to do that too.
Okay.
This is not a throwing rocks kind of a thing. We're just trying to get to where the reputation of the Wausau Fire Department is where the town of Wausau ought to expect it to be. Okay? Okay. Mr. Carter, I asked you about the ordinance and about the fire department and the operations and numbers and things like that. Would you share the conversation that we've had and you have had with Ms. Arthur?
The substance of it was whether the town council essentially governs the fire department in light of the charter and the ordinance creating the fire department, and the answer to that is yes. The town, it doesn't say so explicitly. You know, the town council governs the fire department's operations, but it does. It's inherent in the language of the ordinance. So if there's a more specific question that I haven't answered to this point, I'm happy to answer it. But broadly speaking, everything should and can and must come through the council at the end of the day. It's just an arm of the town, the fire department is.
Okay.
It doesn't operate autonomous of the council, I guess might be a better way to say it.
And the chief in that ordinance is a city employee. That's what the ordinance says.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Unpaid, but yeah.
Did you file your paycheck?
Yeah. Don't get a paycheck, but yeah, it's still
As unpaid as,
definitely a representative for sure.
as unpaid as he may be, he falls under the direction and responsibility to the council, of the council. So I, for one, really would like to have more contact and more detail and see if there's problems. If there's problems over there, we can't fix them if we don't know them. If we're gonna draw over here in our little crowd and have our little whispering conversations and things like that, and you're going to draw over there and do the same thing, and neither one of us ever crosses the road, that ain't gonna get us nowhere.
No.
And so tell me what's been going on with the fire department. Where are we in making better communications and better cooperation and things like that?
Don't have an honest answer on that. I didn't know there was an issue.
Well,
We have not had any,
I think you did, because we told you when you come the last time, we told you. And I'm pretty sure that you know that there's, backbiting's not the word, there's murmuring, and,
I have not heard any murmuring.
okay.
And it has not been brought to my attention that there has been any.
Okay.
I did mention that all needed to cease and we were not gonna have any more issues, and it has not been brought back to me that there has been any, that nobody has said anything to me.
Okay, but that's my fault. I'll take that one. But nobody's come over here and told us that anything's been done either.
Okay, that would be on me for not telling you that I talked to them.
Okay, so we.
I just thought it was implied when you asked me to do it that yes, I would do it, and I did.
I've got last year's run reports. And you gave me, I do not know if I have it here or not, but you gave me a copy, maybe you gave all those a copy of the roster.
Yeah. You
There's
mentioned
about 25, 27 people, does that sound right, on that roster?
20-something.
It shouldn't be near that high. Now there's a difference between the active roster and the, what's the word I'm looking for? Reserve.
14 active.
The reserve are not insured or anything,
Y'all care if I stand by my chief? You don't mind? Thanks.
but as far as the active roster, yes, that should only be 13, 14 of us.
Yeah, 14.
Is that
Okay.
last month? I want to turn to it, is that last month, last month?
November, yeah.
November.
Now, Lynn had got a hold of me and the state to get it's FDICE, that's the state level. And she is on it now to where she can do it, and found out I wasn't on it at all and had no access, which I now have. And through the holidays, it's been a chore trying to get with them, but we are updating it all because it was still listed as Sam as chief. It never even showed Adam ever being chief. So we're working on updating that in this first quarter, or well, I guess that's technically second quarter.
Second quarter.
Yeah.
Are y'all gonna do that, or were you thinking I was gonna do that?
No, I was planning on, we're doing that.
Oh, me do.
It's just, no, me, us, unless you want, I mean.
He said we.
We.
Oh, wait, okay.
We, yeah,
Okay,
we.
Okay,
He says we give his fire department.
But
okay.
The collective.
But as the department had planned on us updating that unless you needed to, but you do have access to be able to see all of that. According to, I believe her name was Patricia. Yeah.
Okay. We also asked you about the monthly report, and I have seen no change in that at all.
Of what?
The report?
The reports?
Yeah.
The monthly report from.
Minutes.
Oh, the meeting minutes?
Yeah.
The meeting
They were
minutes?
supposed to be turned in, like after each meeting, they were supposed to be brought over here.
They wanted more
and put it-
detail.
Oh,
Remember, they wanted more detail?
okay.
You say, now, where's the response, say, car crash, brush fire. How many went? How many responded? What
Yeah, okay.
What did they do?
Close to that.
Was it-
That's on the actual fire reports.
Send that.
Okay, okay,
Send a copy of that.
okay, so
Yeah.
send a.
Would y'all
in
be
addition-
okay with us just sending over the run reports, just to?
Yeah, I think that's what he's asking.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we can add those to
Yeah,
that.
we can absolutely do that.
Okay.
Sure.
Address it.
I didn't want to throw too much paperwork over here.
I want everybody to be chimed in now. I think that you usually look to me to speak first, maybe because I'm the chair. That doesn't make me have any more weighted vote or anything like that. So what I express until we reach a consensus of something is my opinions and my.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody want to jump in?
I'm sorry, I would love to offer that at this point, since we're saying you know, we're expecting reports, we want reports. I think that maybe we should define what we want in the report, right? So that we can say, instead of surprising you and saying you didn't send me, and I can tell you, I would just be satisfied with just the run counts and the people counts, right? I don't know that I need a whole report, but I'll let that. I'm concerned about possible PHI, possible
Yeah,
issues that
some of the
maybe a whole run
issue
report
is,
might have on it.
okay, now if we run a lift assist, well, then you start going into HIPAA rules, because names and all that can't be public knowledge.
Right, but
That's why with the reports, normally we'll put, this is what it was, and no location or any of that. That way we don't have to worry about giving up information that's not, that shouldn't be given to the
I
general
mean,
public.
we can give the
Because-
address and what we've done, other than we can't say what the situation was in that.
I don't want to get nobody in trouble for liability.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to,
Are we current on our NIFRS report?
no. We're only a little bit behind, but we are working on it. And the issue has been the system we have right now. There's been some issues and it's fixing to run out. The fire coordinator for the county has a new one that is supposed to be better and better integrated, because we're still having issues getting our CAD report from the county in order to be able to finish the NIFRS.
We're connected to the county, and the county has to give us access in certain ways to be able to put those.
Actually do the actual
Yes.
full report?
Yes.
Now, NIMFRS, y'all aren't reporting there, are you? You're not reporting on NIMFRS, are you?
It's,
FIFRS.
yeah, it's
Florida.
the Florida one.
The Florida
Not,
based
yeah,
system, yes.
FIFRS, not NIFRS.
Yeah.
A few years ago, didn't the county provide, or maybe the firefighters association provide for laptops and trucks and the ability?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right away?
We bought laptops years ago, and they basically run out of service. They changed from the old Windows 98. Once they went to Windows 11, all that's not even serviced anymore. So those, basically, the whole running system was no good. They're just Walmart cheap laptops. So they just they were fine for the time, but that was years ago.
Have you had one in your budget?
Our budget is actually, we've done pretty well on controlling our budget.
So have you put a laptop in there? If you don't have one that works, you just work on the half.
Well, we have laptops. We have our own. We make sure it's covered, and we're getting the work done. We're catching up. It not only helps us to be up on FIFRS, it also helps you, because that improves your opportunity for grant funding. So if we want a new truck, we have to be up to date. If we want a new brush truck in some way or form, we want new gear. It's just as much good for us as it is good for the town.
I'm concerned when you say you're using your own laptops.
Well, we do.
For the county's business, is that?
We do have the
Are you actually running reports on them and that kind of thing, or just administrative at the firehouse?
the new reporting system is actually designed to work on your phones.
Yeah. It's an app.
Laptops have kind of gone out of the way. The way they're doing it now, it's all done right on your phone. You just
It's
plug
an,
it.
it's an app based now.
Is it a secure app? 'Cause I'm thinking-
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case,
The actual one they're working on trying to get for us, starting March. I don't remember if it's beginning of March or end of March. It depends on when this other one, the contract's ended. It's actually the one Jackson County's using
It's tablet.
and have been used.
They want to use us to use basically it's a tablet. When you're on site, you'll have a tablet just putting in information as the event's happening.
Does AFG grant recognize this thing that you're talking about? Because I know we always have to do, are we reporting?
Yeah,
to NIMFRS?
FIFRS
Yes.
is just the same as NIFRS in the same base. It's just it reports to the Florida College, and then through let's see, Kevin Anderson's the Florida comptroller.
Jimmy Petronas.
Jimmy Petronas.
Oh,
Now we're talking. Yes, he is over not only his other duties, he's also over the fire department.
Yeah.
Yes, he's the fire marshal in general.
Yeah.
So everything reports to his office under his base group. So.
All right. I don't want to go away with a misunderstanding, but
Yes.
I think you just told me that you didn't have what it took to turn those reports in, so you're behind. Before we got through talking, you said you got everything that you need to turn it in.
We're not saying we don't have.
You said the laptop, the computers that you had wasn't any good, so you.
Yeah, so we don't use them anyway. We use our phones through the app system.
Now, we do still have
Now,
one,
what we had a
If
problem.
you got something to use,
Right.
are you behind?
Right, where we had a problem was that we had to get approvals from the county to give us approvals to get to that point where we can enter. So we got behind because we didn't have the approvals from the county.
yeah, and we're still, the times for, we go out on a call, it's trying to get the sheet, that's the actual official sheet that tells us at times what, everything happened. We need that in order to fill out the report, but we still don't have those, not all of those. Those are taking their time to get to us. Now, this new program he's using, they will actually put it in immediately on call. Just like when the sheriff department gets their calls, it immediately goes into, it's called a CAD sheet. And it's programmed into their system. With this new thing, according to Justin, they will be immediately putting it in our fire system.
It's an instant
So
report, basically.
by the time we come back to the station after we've cleaned everything up, we can go in, hit enter, put our last bit of information on all the personnel, and boom, it's sent off.
And you haven't been able to do that earlier?
No,
No,
not with the
this is
current
new
program.
technology.
The current program, we have to wait on the CAD sheet to get to us, to where then we can plug it in. With the new program, they'll plug it in automatically. We don't have to do all that. We don't have to wait for it because they'll already have put it in for us.
Because I recall, and my memory's the least thing to trust in the building tonight, probably, because I recall, even as far back as when Ms. Riley was our clerk, we had that same capability. You could put it in the field, when you get back to the station, you could put it in, and two previous county fire coordinators that it wasn't being sent. Now, there's a difference in it not being sent.
That was
not
a
being
much
executed.
harder program, and you couldn't. It never worked out on the field. That's why they're having to do this upgrade.
Yes.
It-
They're
it
still
just
having
didn't
issues
work.
with this one. You
Yeah.
think you've sent it off and you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'm getting at in. Those are reportable things.
Yes, sir.
Those are things that some fire chief walked across the road and told us about it. Let us call the county, let us call the fire coordinator, let us get involved in helping you get what you need to work, operate on. Did any of you know that any of this was going on? That they couldn't do things and they didn't have the capability and things like that? Did anybody want to come?
Well, you also put the trust into us to do those things. So that's what we're doing. When I made you a promise,
You did.
whenever I stepped down, I made you a promise, and we haven't went against that promise. He's showing up more than I am here because I got a lot going on. But that doesn't mean I'm not involved there. And what we're doing, we're still building, we're still fixing a lot of things that the ball was dropped way longer before me.
I understand.
So it's coming back together. You got a really good fire department. You got a better fire department now than when I started 10 years ago. I promise you that.
And I want to believe that. And I want to believe that.
Now, as far as the murmurings and stuff like that, this Wausau, what do you want me to it is what it is, but we can, what you're here, you should hear from us. Not from people out on the street. Those people, should I say, we can't stop that. What they do outside of that building is gonna happen. And
What about this thing at Christmas?
That I just found out about Monday.
Yeah.
Nobody had told me until Monday.
I just found out 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and he just found out. We've already
The hour ago,
discussed
yeah.
the issue with the majority. I've got one last person to talk to about that.
If it comes down to it, the kids will be basically banned from the property at the end result.
So who then is going to go to our EMS? They're partners with us. They're our,
They're talking about something different.
What are we
Oh,
talking? Wait.
wait a minute, then I know nothing about EMS.
They're talking about the truck room with the children.
oh, yeah.
I've not been informed anything about EMS yet.
That's been handled as far as.
Okay, what's going on with EMS?
The truck thing's been handled, right?
Yes,
Yes,
with the
absolutely.
exception, I've got one more person to talk to.
That's a done deal.
As soon as I found out, I went to talking to people. I got one left to talk to.
Good.
But I knew nothing about EMS.
Okay.
Nobody's told me anything about that.
What's the question with EMS?
Confrontations between firemen and EMS personnel?
To the best of my knowledge, not on this department. Now, I know for a fact there was an issue on another department. I don't know, I don't want to call names. But to my knowledge, there has not been any issue with Wausau at all.
Have any of you not heard that?
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
We
Talking about.
we have two.
I know a few months
we
ago-
have two EMS personnel on our departments.
Yeah.
There's nothing been brought up.
You were made aware of it that evening?
I think he's talking about the incident with you and the EMS director about cooking food at the fire station at the Light Up the Square event, Cowboy.
I never talked to
At the
anybody.
Light Up the Square event.
I wasn't
I
here
don't
at
know
all.
what you're referring to, I'm sorry.
We got the light up
Because I was there that night.
I thought we needed to remember Joe.
I wasn't here at all for that.
I was here. What was the problem? Everything went.
Because I was on a fire call, come back, parked the truck, and left. I never even come up to
He
the
wasn't.
event.
He wasn't even at the event.
I wasn't at the event.
What was said that we happened?
I don't, I just know that they were upset that I thought that he indicated the chief had come by, and was upset about things not being the way he expected it to be. And so
I had no problem
I would
with
have
them
to dig
cooking.
into that.
I thought they did.
They asked us
did a
if we
fantastic
wanted
job,
to
and
or
they
not, and
cleaned up after themselves.
They
That
said,
yeah.
they wanted to have other vendors. I was like, that's
I
fine.
think it had something to do with the cooking that was blocking the entrance to the fire station. Some words were exchanged about that.
No, I never even saw him there.
I did, and I walked through this area with no issue. There was no issues that I was told about.
Now, I was not vocal about it or anything, but I mean, personally, I was a little upset that I was kind of blocked in and couldn't get out. I've been on fire call all day. But I didn't say anything to anybody about it.
Okay.
You're talking about your personal truck?
Yeah, because I'd been on that fire call since 6:37 that morning. I'd been on fire call I'd been at training to begin with and then went to the fire call and then I come back and I'm trapped. But luckily somebody moved and I was able to get out. But
He wasn't even here that night. I was.
I never went up and talked to anybody. Because I literally went and I actually had to park the truck out back by the old station, walked up with my gear, and luckily somebody moved to where I was able to get my vehicle to go home. Because you were at the call too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, I never said anything to anybody.
I don't know. I know that there was more than one person that apparently thought that they saw you. I don't think it was a single person that expressed concern over a verbal confrontation.
Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't do that out in public.
A lot of people, I guess, were confused because I can't assert one way or the other, that there was more than one person that reported that they thought that there was an inappropriate exchange. So.
Okay, because I
can't
never
speak
even
to it
walked over
because
where they were.
Exchange rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never even went over to where they were at.
I didn't hear you. You're right.
Yeah. So,
Because if I'm not mistaken, they were up just on the other side of our fire department sign.
Yeah, they were there on the corner.
But they were in the grass.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have blocked up anything anyway.
Understand all that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not.
But as far as our side, that's not something we knew about.
Okay. Scheduling of events and things like that. Participation with other parts of the town, including council activities and governmental activities, and another entity, the development club. We're all And when we, again, get reports, we're not gonna do that if they gonna do that. They're gonna, that's not a good attitude. That's not a good-
Honestly, we haven't
I
even
thought,
scheduled any.
and I could be wrong, yeah, right now, we haven't
We
scheduled
don't
anything.
have anything
But
we
for
can talk
instance,
to
like,
them about at all.
and I hope there hadn't been any problems, but I've talked to Lynn and go, hey, do you need us there? Do you want us there? I mean, we're not offended one way or the other. If you want us, great. If you've got other people already scheduled, that's great, that's fine, we understand. To the best of my knowledge, there's not been any hard feelings between us. Nobody's shown,
Joe's actually been kind of our liaison between us and the development club. That way, we can make sure we're exchanging information. No issue there.
I mean, honestly, I forget which event it was. The one, we were kind of relieved we didn't. We were tired. We were relieved that they weren't counting for us to do it. I actually think it was a tree lighting.
Yeah, we didn't have to.
Yeah, because it was like, we'd just been so busy and had so much else going on that we were relieved that it wasn't, we really need you.
Before that, I think it was the Fall Festival event, and we really didn't have anything to do with that. We offered, as far as I know, but we really didn't have anything to do with it. Before that was Possum Day, and we really don't have anything to do with Possum Day other than we'll help out if we're asked.
Now, I know right now we don't have any fundraiser or anything planned. We'll actually probably discuss that starting February to try to figure out what all we're going to do throughout the year, with the exception of, we know we're the Street Fest. We know that's going to be coming up.
Yeah, and that ain't until like
That's,
September. Yeah.
Third weekend in September, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do a cooking to raise funds here and there,
But we'll come to you and we'll discuss when we'd like to do it and make sure that it is good with y'all.
I think that's a good idea.
That's what we've been,
Clear
we're trying to
what you're gonna do, so
We're trying to get it, and it's, I shouldn't say ask for permission, but go, is it, just basically, is this good? Is it gonna be a conflict or anything like that?
Again, what I'm concerned about is someone saying, hey, y'all can have a barbecue? Y'all can have a fish fry? I want to.
Well, that's the thing, you said it's not like you're gonna tell us, no, you can't do that. You just would like to know when we're planning them and
What's
stuff.
going on?
Which is when, we basically, it'll be February. Through the holidays, we got so much else going on, and we've been very fortunate this year. We didn't have a Thanksgiving fire. We didn't have a Christmas fire. We were very thankful of that. But usually that's not the case. The holidays seem to be the busiest time for us. This year we've been very fortunate. It has not. And it's been nice.
knock on plywood.
Yeah. So February is when we'll start discussing what all we'd like to do for the year.
Yeah.
And start trying to schedule. We have a giant calendar on the wall that we're going to erase it all now because that year's gone, and go to starting it over and try to plan some stuff out.
The only thing we've done that even asked for help for was the haunted house. I mean, anybody who wants to put on a mask, come on.
I don't have to put one on.
You had a good year, it looks like.
Yeah.
Here's your run reports, looks like you had, any month, I think the most I saw in any month was 3.
That's excellent for us and the community.
2 in most of them.
Now, we
And the
do
bigger thing
have,
is no, I don't think one of them was inside of this community, this city limits.
we had a couple small things in city
Maybe
limits,
a
but
couple
yeah,
little,
it's
it was a couple
little
little
bitty things.
burn, people call it about other people burning.
But as far as a structure, the
Yeah,
closest
no.
structure was the bait shop.
If we go back 15 years, you won't find any inside the city very much. We are the Wausau Fire Department, but we're more part of the Washington County Fire Department that through mutual aid response.
And that's a good thing. It really
It is a
is.
good thing. We don't want anyone's house burned out. We don't want fires
No.
in Wausau.
It's like, now this weekend, Saturday, we have a county training that we've requested the whole department go to, which is a driving training for the new driving certificates. it's a refresher for most of us, but there is a new stuff, so it's something we're basically requesting everybody show up for.
Sounds like something that goes on a report. 10 people winning, 8 of them passed, 10 of them passed, something like that. That lets us know what the fire department.
Okay.
That's something that we can tell people, our fire department passed that. Our department is capable, we do have, and we want to continue to have pride in our fire department. But we want to open line of communications too. Now, apparently, I may be reading between the lines, you have heard more about murmuring than you first indicated, and you have recommitted tonight.
No, we're just used to it. It ain't that we knew what was going on. It's just
I haven't heard it. Let's go with that.
we're used to it. Yeah.
Now, in the department, it's not tolerated anymore.
No.
It's flat out said, we do not want to hear it inside this building.
That's good.
And we also have a true rule that one message crosses a street. And that's his message or my message, but one comes across and delivers to you. Not what it used to be where people were coming through the door, and hitting up Miss Margaret. Wait, I can't believe somebody said this and this, blah, 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 blah. We stopped all that.
No,
To the best of our knowledge,
Yeah.
we had stopped.
The only people you should be hearing from
Yeah.
would be me, Adam, or Becca.
And the only reason you should hear from
and
Becca
it
was
should
just
actually
be
come from
turning in
Lynn because
information. Yeah.
I can't hear both of them.
I'm sorry.
we usually go to Lynn if we've got an issue.
And the only thing you should hear from Becca on is whenever Miss Lynn asks for certain information and she brings it over and drops it off. There shouldn't be much more information other than that.
Is that better?
I was going to say, yeah. Now she has,
Frank's working with the debit card.
to the best of my knowledge, it's good. We're not using it unless it absolutely, and it's supposed to be immediately turned into you. Okay. I'm just making sure because, and we have a small group message between Miss Lynn, Becca, and me, and then if there's any question or issue, she's got one that she directly talks to me and lets me know something. And she hasn't let me know anything bad, so I was thinking I was okay.
When did that change? We've talked about it here several times. When did the improvement start on communications and purchases and things that you had to deal with?
The debit card has helped a lot. The debit card. I mean, they've just done that one transaction for Chris, or that one use of it. It's helped a lot. So.
Mr. Park, anything from the fire chief?
No, I don't have anything.
Mr. Carter?
No.
Mr. Phillips?
So I have a long list of things,
Okay.
but here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna say this out loud. It's kind of weird, okay? So my relationship with the fire department has changed dramatically in the last week, because I'm now the town council. So, because
You also informed me you're working more now
the
too, so.
realities of this, and I think you and Adam both can feel this, is that I've been privy to conversations that I'm not going to share out loud because they were maybe on fire or somewhere, right? So I'm not going to play gotcha. But I wanted to, and I had a list of things I was going to tell you I was going to ask about. Since I didn't give those to you, I'm not going to ask you about them tonight because
Okay.
it's not fair to you. But I'd like to see us as a fire department, I'm under the impression that right now, because we don't have that safety inspection, we can't get grants. So we're kind of, is that right? Don't we have
What
like
safety
some kind of
inspection
state
are we
safety
missing?
inspection we have to perform in order to
No.
apply for a grant? Is that-
Not that I'm aware, no.
I'll make you aware of it.
That must be new, because
That's my,
But it depends on which grants we're talking about. Are you talking about a national grant or are you talking about a Florida grant?
I'll bring that to you.
okay.
So just so you know, I'm not going to tie you down to give me that. I'm expressing my concerns so we can prepare to have maybe a conversation about it and dig in. I'd also like to look at the plans that we have for vehicle maintenance, right? What are some hard plans? Because I know you've expressed we have some vehicles that need some maintenance, and we have a certain amount of money that we have, and I'd like to see what the plans are. Like as a council member, I'd like to know what are the plans for maintenance and spending that. How much money do we get a year?
This year it's gonna be 50,000.
Oh, they went up.
So I'd like to see, what are our plans for spending that, right, in the next year? I'd like to see the department come up with those plans, because we have to administrate that essentially. Like, again, it's weird because my role's changing here. So I gotta work through this, if you'll allow me to work through it.
Yeah, no, this is no problem at all.
Right, we'll work through it together personally as well. And so I just really want to look at that closer. I want to look at training, and I know we have trainings, but they're not well attended. The Saturdays, typically there's a couple that are steady.
Yes.
I'd love to see us figure out a way to encourage and expand that. So
Part of it, of course, is, there's several that work weekends too, so that makes it more difficult.
Absolutely. Well, but still, training is important, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it that we already know how to do it, but the point of training is to be together with the people that we're going to be together with on fires. And like the city of Chipley trains every week, right? So, at every meeting, they do some kind of training. I'm not trying to compare ourselves to us. I'm saying they've done it a million times, but they do it again so that when they're together, right? So just, those are some things I'm just going to be asking you about in the coming months, because I'm concerned about them.
Okay.
And I'd like to see us figure out how we can formally begin to address that. I'm going to stand with all of the firefighters that I've been to fires with. I'll fight a fire with them. I'm good with that. I'm not at all concerned about the quality of the firefighters that we have, and the men and women that are willing to go in when others run out. But I want to look at some of the
Okay.
administrative issues in the coming months, make sure we're on track.
Sounds good.
Sorry I didn't get those to you. That's why.
That's fine.
Not going to say, tell me this. I appreciate it.
You've got my number.
No,
We've texted many a times, called a few times.
It's totally on me.
Anybody on the council, I'm available. If I don't get to you right then, I'll get to you as soon as I can afterwards.
Yeah. The deal is that since I've been studying on this and I haven't known all this, and as he indicated, and as our legal counsel indicated, really we're more on the hook than I used to know that we were as a town council, right? We're talking liabilities, decisions that are made, training, vehicle maintenance, the upkeep of the vehicles, are they in good shape? That kind of thing will come back on us, right? If they're, not me, Joe Phillips, but the town.
All right.
And I've realized now that it's something I think we need to engage in and know about. So just want to let you, that's my thoughts. Thank you.
And that liability, they can't sue us individually, can't somebody?
You'd have to have gone beyond, it would have to be intentional and malicious.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about individuals. I'm talking about the town, right? I mean, what I'm saying is that it's no longer, it doesn't stop in the building at the chief, right?
Yeah.
It stops.
Unfortunately, nowadays you can sue anybody for anything,
Absolutely. But if we're going to be responsible for it, I want us to know what the plans are. So we can
and as
say,
chief, I realize anything I can be sued for in a seat.
Sure.
I know it's always, they'll come after the chief and the town right away.
Yeah.
Is that work?